when I got out of the Navy, Dad was milking cows, and he wanted to quit milking cows. So I took over the dairy, I call it the dairy, and built from that, and I thought I did pretty good. I mean, I started with just plain milkers. I got into bulk tank and pipeline milkers, and the time come that you had to keep growing, like David Spar did, built silos, or because I didn't do that. I milked for 22 years, and my son Farrell and I, we talked about it. We said, well, he coaxed me. He said, Dad, you don't need to milk. They picked up more ground to farm. They're rented farm, rented more land.
Sure.
So I rented more land and sold the cows. And but the cows become part of your life, when they's out here in this field and grazing, and I knew the man was coming with a truck to get the cows that day. I sold them to another dairy in Continental.
Okay.
And I cried. I thought,
yeah, that was the end of something. Yeah, you're going to miss seeing them out there.
But I had my mind made up. That's what I was going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So we sold the cows, and it turned out okay.
Yeah.
But then you're not sure when you're doing it.
Yeah,
the livestock has kind of left the scene. All these old barns that were built for livestock, most of them don't have livestock in anymore. In fact, on our barn tour last year, I think out of the 6 barns, there might have been about 3 of them that still had livestock. Most of them did not. And in this coming year's barn tour will be no different to that regard. And it's not very efficient because even if you're going to raise livestock, you're going to have very specialized facilities that's very conducive for those animals and makes that work very, very well.
Well, back in 1945, we had 2,000 dairy farms. We had 16,000 head of dairy cattle that year. And now we have 5.
5 dairy farms in
Yeah.
County.
Oh, was it down to 4? I'm sorry. I must have added
Missed
one.
it.
Okay. And I tried to count at 5 and I couldn't the other
You
day.
couldn't find
Yeah.
Job. And we have many, many part-time farmers in this county. As a result of that, we probably have more part-time farmers than any other county throughout all of Ohio, really. We have many farmers that will farm 800 to 1,000 acres and still have a full-time job. And when companies such as Whirlpool and Cooper and Ball Metal and long time ago Dow, those are just a few of the places that many of our farmers took employment and really helped their livelihood. And the other thing that's common today is the wife has taken a job off the farm, and that was just absolutely unheard of back in the older days. So to have both spouses full-time on the farm that aren't retired, you can probably, in each township, almost count them on one hand.
One of those was our son came back from Ohio State and announced that he wanted to farm. And so then in '94, we started expanding, and we've been working on that since. We got one building down there we just moved cattle into last winter, this year. So you'll see the progression of progress or change.
With me being the 3rd generation starting in the farm, the other 2 are still active, so my brother and I, we're trying to diversify just because we're not farming the acres as some starting out, just because we're spread out between 3 generations. Diversifying some of the things we've started into. My brother, he works at a Case IH dealership, and then I sell seed. And we've also have started a hay and straw business. That's grown every single year. We've almost doubled for the last 5 years, and that's really taken off for us. But we see down the road that farming is kind of going to go the way everything else has. It's either you get big or you get out, and unfortunately that's the way it looks like it's going to go. And to do that, we're going to have to use technology on our side. There's multiple things there with GPS and multi-hybrid planters and that kind of stuff that's coming down that we're going to have to look into and see how we can maximize the acres that we have so that we can grow and survive as a farm. I guess over time, equipment on the farm has just gotten bigger in general, and it seems like it never stops. Grandpa tells back, 8-foot disc and stuff, and now that's small even for the garden. So I don't know where it'll stop, if it ever will stop, but equipment just keeps getting bigger, and now it's getting smarter with technology coming in.